Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Grizz Griswold of FINOS. Hope you're doing well. And this is a quick how-to on how to submit your talks to the FINOS Open Source and Finance CFP. The call for papers, we want you to submit your talks to the Open Source and Finance Forum, which will be June 24th in London. So, a couple of quick things to keep in mind. The CFP opens on Wednesday, January 29th. And it closes on March 16th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. So please submit your talks by March 16th. We will let all of our speakers know by April 7th whether they've been accepted, waitlisted, or rejected. Okay. The main thing that I'm going to ask you to do with the CFP is to read what the CFP is asking for. First of all, we are not looking for general talks. This is a pretty unique conference. Is open source within financial services. It's very niche down. So we are looking for talks that really support business decision makers in finance and technology. And then we're looking for talks that support the developers and the technologists that work within open source and finance. Again, very niche down. So please read what is in the CFP. I'm going to give kind of the headline areas what types of talks that we're asking for. First of all, of course, is artificial intelligence within financial services, emerging technologies and innovation. And, please don't submit a talk that's just on AI and generative AI. Like, we want to be very specific again to financial services. So maybe it's the rise of AI agents and digital workforce in financial services, enhancing productivity, automation, and customer experience. AI readiness in financial services, build safe and responsible AI through open source. Again, just some things to get you going. There's plenty of directions that we could go. FDC3. This is desktop interoperability, and this is also where we'll look at front-end development. Open source software security and supply chain risk management. Highlight what you can do in order to make your open source software projects secure, and especially in a regulated industry like finance, is very appealing to our community. Open source readiness. This is what FINOS is built on. It's basically helping financial services companies go up the open source maturity curve. So from getting started consuming to actually giving back, contributing, all the way up to OSPOs, open source program offices, and everything in between. The common domain model, CDM, regulatory technology and RegTech compliance. This is something that we work very closely with ISDA, ISLA, and ICMA with the common domain model, and we've seen an incredible growth over the past year and a half, basically, of people really latching onto this. JP Morgan and JSCC, the Japanese Securities Clearing Corporation, they're adopting the CDM and really building towards that. So we're looking for talks expressly on that. Open source collaboration, community building, of course, that is important. Those are baseline things, not only within our community, but also in open source readiness. Case studies in open source and financial services and financial applications. We want to know if you are a bank, if you are building something using especially FINOS projects, open source projects, in order to continue not only furthering the project, but continuing what you're doing and what type of ROI you're receiving from these projects. We want to know if you're a vendor, how you're building in the open, but also using these projects in order to not only grow your revenue, but also make your clients better technology-wise, open source-wise, maybe even be regulatory-wise. We also want to know, what developer tools, best practices, and talent development that, you are working on within your businesses. So best practice, thought leadership is always good. Open source and finance is the lens we want you to put over it. And then, of course, there are hot topics in open source and finance. And this is everything from blockchain to cloud adoption, obviously AI, but we want you to tell us what are the bleeding edge things that are coming up within open source and finance. What are you seeing on the horizon? We'd love to hear from you on that. A couple of other quick things. We'll obviously ask you for what kind of theme, main topic that you're looking at. We want to know what type of session format you have. And also think about the level of talk. Is this beginner, like its baseline is 101? Is it 201? Is it intermediate or advanced? Who is the ideal type of person that needs to be at your talk? And then what problem does your talk solve? What's the value to the audience? What's the ROI that they take out of it? That they can use the very next day or that they can use in strategy planning down the road. And then something that we're doing a little bit different this year is we're going to ask speakers for session keywords. Listen, we have had incredible talks since we started doing this in 2017. But the one thing that we've had trouble doing is, we don't know all of the topics that you're talking about. And in order to promote that, remember, I'm head of marketing, so I need this. But in order to promote the talks that you have, we need you to give us session keywords. And these would be keywords like, a talk on FDC3 that we had this past year, FDC3 2.2, FDC3 for the web. That was Chris West and Rob Moffett. The topics or the keywords for that would have been FTC3, FTC3 2.2, desktop interoperability, interop. We need like a core set of keywords so that as we are looking at how to promote your particular session once you've been accepted, then this will help. And then afterwards, when the sessions are live and when they go on video, and when we put them on YouTube and when we put them on our website and when we take clips of them and put them out in order to continue to promote the talks, that's not only for us, that's for you as speakers as well. So keep these things in mind, that the marketing of your talks are very important in order to get people to your sessions. And again, that's new for this year. We're going to ask you if you've presented this talk before. We're going to make sure that you review the Linux Foundation Code of Conduct. And we're going to make sure that you review the Linux Foundation Inclusive Speaker Orientation and Inclusive Language Initiative. Those are very important, not only within the open source community, but hey, in life. So we take those very seriously, and please make sure that you review them. Again, read. Read is a big thing here. We're going to ask you for your name, your email, your company, your position, your title, your biography, your photo, where to see you on LinkedIn, your company website, your company, your speaker title, your country of residence, your time zone. These are very important in order to get in touch with you and make sure that we're, able to speak with you in a quick manner when either we need things, we'd like to get them all up front, or if anything changes along the way. If there are any co-speakers, if this is, a plan for a panel. If you have a plan for a panel, please do not submit something that just has, here's an idea for a panel. We want you to come preferably with some speakers in mind as well. I think those are the main things. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable submitting. We've had hundreds and hundreds of speakers come through here in the past, again, since 2017. And I'm going to tell you that there's only been probably 2 talks that I would say I would never invite the speakers back again. And this is probably the biggest thing. Like, this is not a sales pitch. This needs to be something of value that the FINOS community especially wants to take hold of. So no sales pitches. We do have a committee that reviews this. Part of it comes from the FINOS team. Part of it comes from the FINOS TOC, which is our technical oversight committee. So don't be afraid to be technical, but definitely make sure that you get your main point across in what the value is to a potential attendee. But we do have people that can understand what you're saying. Thank you, developers. So if you have any questions, you can, of course, reach out. There's questions about the CFP, that you can always submit to cfp@linuxfoundation.org. But we'll make sure that you are supported with any questions that you have. All right, that's more than enough. Thank you for your time, and reach out to me on LinkedIn, especially if you have any other questions about how to get involved with FINOS and the rest of the community besides just being a speaker for one of our conferences. I will say also look out for New York on October 21st and 22nd of this year as well, and we'll be putting out information about when that CFP comes out very shortly. Thank you so much, and with that I'm going to say good day, good night, wherever you are.